What if I told you that you don't have to do anything to make someone regret losing you? That time itself is the greatest weapon, and silence is your sharpest blade. Most people believe the only way to make someone feel your absence is to fight for them, beg for closure, or prove your worth. That's the trap. Because the moment you chase, you surrender your power. And worse, you confirm they were right to leave. But what if doing nothing is doing everything? Stoicism teaches us that the most powerful response is often no response at all. So let me ask you, have you ever been taken for granted? Have you ever wondered if someone would ever realize your worth after they walked away? That gnawing urge to explain yourself, to show them they made a mistake, only to end up feeling more disrespected. What if instead of trying to prove anything, you simply allowed time to teach them the lesson they deserve? That's what this is about, not revenge, not manipulation, but the raw, unshakable power of detachment. Because the longer they go without you, the more it hurts. And today, you'll see exactly why. By the end, you'll understand how time dismantles their confidence, how regret creeps in like a slow poison, and why watching you thrive in silence becomes their greatest nightmare. It starts with the illusion of relief. They think they're fine without you. At first, they feel empowered, even justified. They tell themselves they made the right decision, that you were just a chapter, not the story. They carry themselves with confidence, with a kind of smugness that makes it look like they're better off without you. But what they don't realize is that this confidence is nothing but distraction. A temporary shield held up by denial. When people make impulsive decisions, decisions rooted in pride or ego, they don't feel the consequences immediately. The mind moves slow. The ego moves slower. So at first, they feel free. They flood their time with noise, parties, distractions, fake laughter, new faces. They post on social media like everything's great, like your absence means nothing. But that kind of confidence built on avoidance, it never lasts. Because time doesn't reveal the weight of loss all at once. It unfolds in fragments. It begins subtly, small reminders they can't explain. A song, a street, a place you once laughed together, a moment that suddenly feels colder without your presence. They shake it off. Just a passing thought, they tell themselves. But time keeps showing up, again and again. They remember the things they took for granted, the way you greeted them, how you understood their moods, how your presence made their world feel safer, fuller, more alive. Still, they won't admit it. Not to you. Not to themselves. Instead, they cling to distractions and double down. They pick at your flaws, they exaggerate every inconvenience, they rewrite the story to make themselves feel justified. But this isn't clarity. It's desperation. A slow, creeping realization begins to whisper, asterisk, what if I was wrong, asterisk. Still, their ego holds the line. They perform happiness. But performance is exhausting, and no one can keep up an act forever. And here's where your power comes in, not in reaching out, but in detachment, real detachment. Not rooted in bitterness, but in self-respect. When you hold your silence, when you stop giving them access to your energy, your presence, your emotions, that's when reality hits them hardest. You create space for truth. You take away their safety net. You force them to sit with their decision. Most people panic at this stage. They wonder, do they even notice I'm gone? And they break the silence. A text, a check-in, a subtle reach for closure. But the moment you do that, the game resets. Because that moment gives them confirmation that they still matter to you, that you're still waiting. But if you hold the line, if you let the silence stretch, if you trust time to do the heavy lifting, something else happens. That confidence they had begins to crack. That initial relief feels hollow. They begin to realize that what they thought was freedom was actually just avoidance. That their world, without your warmth, feels colder. Their so-called victories feel emptier. Their life, less vibrant. And that's when it starts to truly hurt. Not because of what they lost, but because what they lost can't be replaced. And as you remain silent, that realization gets louder. This is why Stoicism is powerful, not because it teaches you how to manipulate, but because it teaches you how to let go. How to trust in your own worth, even when others don't recognize it. How to let people live with the consequences of taking you for granted. Even now, they still won't reach out. Their pride is too loud. But inside, the battle is raging. Doubt grows. The silence becomes unbearable. Regret starts to spread. And soon they aren't just missing you. They're being consumed by the reality that you're gone. At first, the signs of emptiness are subtle. A flicker, a random thought, a shadow of a memory that crosses their mind when they least expect it. A song, a scent, a place you both loved. It's nothing dramatic. Just a strange silence in the middle of a noisy world. But it lingers, and it doesn't stop. The mind, even when stubborn, clings to familiarity, and they start to notice it more and more. The way their phone doesn't light up the way it used to. The way conversations feel more forced. Laughter isn't as easy. The moments that once felt full now feel slightly incomplete. They don't understand why, not yet. But they feel it. They still wear the mask, smiling, laughing, pretending like everything is fine. But deep down, they know something has shifted, and they can't shake it. In quiet moments when no one's around, they catch themselves thinking about you, wondering if you've moved on, wanting to check your profile, but stopping themselves, hearing something funny and instinctively thinking, I need to tell them, only to realize they can't. Even then, they won't break. Not yet. They'll try harder to drown it out. More distractions, more noise. But time doesn't just heal. It reveals asterisk. And what it reveals is the truth they tried so hard to escape. You weren't just someone. You were someone who mattered. Someone who brought real depth, real connection. Now comparisons begin. Not because they want to, but because they can't help it. The energy they have with new people doesn't feel the same. The laughter doesn't feel as real. The comfort isn't there. And finally, the question starts forming in the back of their mind. Did I make a mistake? They resist it. They deny it. But the heart knows. The heart always knows. And this is when the emptiness turns into real regret. They start watching, maybe quietly, maybe without you noticing, checking your social media, asking mutual friends, looking for signs. Any sign that they still have a place in your mind. But they won't find it. Because you're silent, you've moved forward, and they're stuck in reverse. They thought they had time, that they could leave, explore, and come back. But now they wonder, what if I don't? That thought changes everything. Suddenly, it's not about whether they miss you. It's about whether you miss them. And when they find no sign of that, that's when the pain truly begins. They thought life without you would be better. That they'd feel freer, happier, more fulfilled. But now the world feels dull, flat, repetitive. The joy they expected never came. The new people, the new situations, none of it fills the space you left behind. The silence has gotten too loud. They try to rationalize it, that it's just part of the process, that they'll feel better soon. But that peace never comes, because the truth has settled in. Life without you isn't better. It's just lonelier. And that's the realization they never saw coming. While they're stuck in regret, you've already adapted. You've already evolved. You've already found peace. And that's what hurts them most. Because they thought they had control. But time gave you the advantage. And they're just starting to understand what they really lost. Absolutely. Here's a rewritten version of your piece without the headings, keeping the emotional weight and narrative flow intact. You still care if they still have some sort of hold over you. But when they find nothing, when they see that you aren't chasing, aren't looking back, aren't waiting for them to come to their senses, that's when the panic sets in. Because at this point, it's no longer just about missing you. It's about what missing you means. It means they were wrong. It means they gave up something valuable. It means they might have made a mistake they can't fix. And that thought, that realization, that's torture. The regret is no longer just a whisper. It's a scream. It follows them everywhere. In conversations that feel forced. In the silence that feels unbearable. In the nights when they stare at the ceiling, wondering what if asterisk. But that's only the beginning of their suffering. The longer they go without you, the more they realize they might never get you back. And that's the thought that truly breaks them. At first, they ignore the regret. They push it down, distract themselves with whatever they can. But eventually, the cracks in their certainty become too deep to ignore. The regret they kept at bay becomes something heavier, something they carry in their chest, in their gut, in every quiet moment when they're alone. And no matter how hard they fight it, one truth becomes painfully clear: they made a mistake. They don't admit it right away. Their ego won't allow it. Instead, they rationalize it. They tell themselves they were right to walk away, that they needed to, that life is about new beginnings. But those words lose their weight every time they repeat them. Because the reality they once believed would be better, more exciting, more fulfilling, feels like a cold, distant shadow of what they had before. Now for the first time, they're forced to sit with the realization that maybe they were wrong. That's where the real battle begins. The ego versus the heart. The mind versus emotion. The story they told themselves versus the undeniable truth that now stares them in the face. It's no longer just about missing you. It's about why they miss you. About what it means to have had something real and let it slip away. It's about realizing not everyone gets a second chance, and maybe they won't either. They start replaying everything in their mind, every moment, every word, every decision that led here. At first, they try to blame you. It's easier that way. If they can believe you are the problem, they don't have to take responsibility. But that excuse wears thin, and soon they're left with the only truth that matters. They walked away. They chose this, and now they're the ones suffering for it. That suffering is relentless. They see your absence everywhere. In the way they wake up and instinctively reach for their phone, only to remember there's no message from you. In the moments they want to celebrate, but realize they have no one to share it with. In the nights surrounded by people, but feeling completely alone, because no one understands them the way you did. And then comes the jealousy. They begin to wonder if you've moved on. If someone else is filling the space they thought only they could occupy. They stalk your social media, searching for signs, for proof that they still matter. And when they find nothing, when they see that you are thriving, growing, living without them, that's when the pain cuts deepest. Because for so long, they believed they had control. They believed you would be the one suffering, the one waiting. But now they see the truth. You let go before they did . And that realization shatters them. No, it's not just regret, it's fear. The fear that they were wrong. that they underestimated your strength, your resilience, that while they were convincing themselves they didn't need you, you were proving you never needed them in the first place. And once that thought takes root, it doesn't let go. This is where their ego starts to crumble, where their certainty becomes doubt, and then desperation. But they still won't admit it. Not yet. Instead, they test the waters. They ask mutual friends about you, post things online, subtle hints meant to catch your attention. Maybe they accidentally like an old photo of yours, a desperate attempt to remind you they still exist. But they won't say it outright, because to admit they regret their decision would mean exposing themselves in a way they're not ready for. But you already know. You've seen this pattern before. You understand how time works, how absence creates clarity, and how the strongest response is silence. So you do nothing. You don't reach out. You don't react. You don't give them the validation they're now craving more than anything. And that asterisk is what breaks them the most. Because now the roles are reversed. Now they are the ones wondering if it's too late. If they threw away something they can never get back. And the longer they go without hearing from you, the worse it gets. This is the power of time. This is the power of Stoic relationships. True strength is not in chasing, not in proving, not in trying to make someone see your worth. True strength is in walking away and letting them figure it out on their own. And now they're starting to figure it out. But the worst part is still ahead. Because while the regret is painful, while the doubt consumes them, there's still one last hope they hold on to. The belief that if they reach out, you'll still be there. That all it takes is one message, and everything will go back to the way it was. But what happens when they realize that's not true? When they see that they haven't just lost time, they've lost you. That's when time stops just being painful and starts becoming their worst nightmare. Let me know if you'd like a version tailored more for they never truly understood what they were giving up when they left. So caught up in their ego, in the need to prove something, in the belief that life would be better without you, they didn't pause to consider the consequences if they were wrong. But now they live with that weight every single day. It hits them in the quiet moments, when distractions run out, when they wake up and instinctively check their phone only to find nothing from you. When they lay down at night in silence, amplifies every thought. That's when the absence becomes unbearable. That's when they start replaying every moment, every conversation, searching for meaning. But no matter how many times they sift through the past, the answer remains the same. They lost something they'll never get back. And it's not just missing you. It's what missing you represents. It represents the failure of the life they thought they were choosing. It represents the cost of pride. It represents a truth they can no longer deny. They were not better off without you. That's when desperation creeps in. First quietly, they check your social media, mention you in passing, think about reaching out but hesitate, still clinging to a shred of ego. They tell themselves they're just curious, just wondering, just checking in. But the truth is, they're searching for proof that they still matter. Time passes and silence answers every question. No message, no sign, no reaction. Each day without a response chips away at them. The silence becomes a mirror, reflecting the depth of their mistake. They're holding on alone. And that pain, the pain of realizing they are the only one left hoping, the only one stuck in the past, it doesn't fade. It grows. It consumes. And then comes the realization they weren't prepared for. Even if they reach out, even if they find the courage to admit their regret, they have no idea who they'll find on the other end. Because you've been healing. You've been growing. You've been evolving into someone they no longer know. Now they're not just dealing with loss. They're dealing with uncertainty. They no longer have a place in your story. The control they once thought they had is gone. And what breaks them most is not your absence. It's your strength, your peace, your indifference. They thought they had time, that they could leave and return when they were ready, that you would still be there. But now they're watching from the outside, and what they see destroys them. At first, they doubted it, thought your happiness was fake, a mask, a performance. But time has stripped that lie away, because your peace isn't performative, it's real, and they can't stand it. They analyze everything you do, hoping to find pain, hoping to see signs you still care. But all they find is growth. All they see is someone who has outgrown them. You were supposed to wait. That was the story they told themselves. They would explore the world, chase their desires, and if they ever decided to come back, you'd still be there. But now, for the first time, they see the truth. You didn't wait. You moved on. And the person they left behind no longer exists. That's when panic sets in. The memories they used to ignore are now constant. The songs, the places, the conversations, they all lead back to you. But now, those memories aren't comforting. They're punishing, because you've become someone new. Someone they can't reach. Someone they will never again get close to. Still, they try. A casual message. A just thinking of you. A like on an old photo. An indirect gesture, hoping you'll take the bait. But when silence answers, it wrecks them. Because now, for the first time, they realize they are not just losing you. They've already lost you. The silence they once chose now feels like a punishment. You didn't need to argue. You didn't need to beg or prove anything. You simply let go. And while they spiral in the consequences of their choices, you thrive. You shine, you move forward, and they sit in the ruins of what they destroyed. They begin to ask themselves questions they never thought they'd have to face. Asterisk, is it too late? Will they still care? Will they even respond? Asterisk, but the scariest question of all, the one they can't stop thinking about, is asterisk, what if you feel nothing, asterisk? That's what they fear the most, not your anger, not your sadness, but your indifference, because that would mean they no longer matter, that they no longer have power, that the story they built in their head, that you would always be there, was a lie. And that's when it truly hits. The power they thought they had was never theirs. It was always yours. And you, in your silence, in your peace, in your refusal to be pulled back, have shown them a truth they never wanted to accept. They needed you more than you ever needed them. Now they live with that truth. They can say sorry. They can reach out. They can explain. But none of it matters. Because time already did the work. You've moved forward. You've grown beyond them. And that version of you, the one who waited, who hoped, is gone. And that is the deepest punishment of all. Not revenge, not anger, just absence. Just knowing that what they had, what they lost, will never come back. Because they were so sure, so confident, so certain that they could leave, and life would reward them for it. But life didn't reward them. Life punished them, quietly, patiently, with time. And now, while they live in regret, you live in peace. While they replay the past, you build a better future. And they finally understand the one thing they never considered before. You were the best thing that ever happened to them. And now they can never have you back.io narration, or if you want this structured into segments with visuals in mind.